How Lady Gaga built a multi-million-dollar empire. Before the fame, before the millions, before the global recognition, there was a young woman in New York City chasing something bigger than attention. She was chasing value. Her name is Lady Gaga, and today she stands as one of the most successful entertainers in the world, not just because of her talent, but because of how she turned that talent into a powerful financial system. But what most people don't see is that her journey into wealth didn't begin with success, it began with rejection. At just 19 years old, Lady Gaga got her first major opportunity when she was signed to a record label. For many artists, this is the moment that changes everything, the moment where money starts flowing and careers begin to rise. But for her, the opposite happened. She was dropped. No deal, no income, no stability, and no clear future in the music industry. At that point, financially speaking, she was back to zero, and in many cases, this is where dreams die. But instead of walking away, she made a decision that would define her financial future. She chose to rebuild. Not with money, but with strategy. She began performing in small clubs across New York City, earning very little, sometimes almost nothing, but what she lacked in income, she made up for in positioning. She wasn't just performing, she was studying the industry, understanding audiences, building relationships, and most importantly, developing a unique identity that people couldn't ignore. During this period, she started writing songs for other artists, including major names like Britney Spears and Akon. Financially, this was a critical move because songwriting created a different type of income, one that many people overlook. This is known as intellectual property income. Every song written has the potential to generate money over time through royalties, licensing, and usage, meaning that even without being in the spotlight, she was already building a financial foundation behind the scenes. Then came the turning point. Akon recognized her talent and signed her, giving her another opportunity, but this time, she was ready. She had the experience, the network, and the understanding of how the industry worked. Soon after, she released Just Dance and Poker Face, and those songs didn't just perform well, they exploded globally. Money started coming in, but not in the way most people think. Many assume artists get rich from music sales, but in reality, the biggest financial driver in the music industry is touring. And Lady Gaga quickly became one of the strongest performers in that space. Touring is not just about performing on stage, it is a business model. Ticket sales generate massive revenue, merchandise adds additional income, and sponsorship deals bring in even more money. When all these streams are combined, a single tour can generate tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. Lady Gaga understood this early, and she leaned into it. As her popularity grew, so did her ability to command higher ticket prices, larger venues, and bigger deals. This is where her income began to scale rapidly, and instead of relying on a single source, she expanded her financial structure. Music became just one part of her income. She started building multiple streams of revenue, including brand partnerships, endorsements, and collaborations with major fashion houses. Each partnership wasn't just about visibility, it was about positioning herself as a global brand. And that's where the real shift happened. She stopped being just an artist and became a business point. One of her smartest financial moves came when she launched her own beauty brand, House Labs. This was not just another celebrity product line, it was a strategic entry into a billion-dollar industry. The beauty industry is one of the most profitable markets in the world, and by owning her brand, she was no longer just earning money from performances or endorsements, she was building an asset. Ownership is the key difference between income and wealth. When you own a brand, you control the revenue, the growth, and the long-term value. And Lady Gaga positioned herself perfectly to take advantage of that. At the same time, she expanded into acting, starring in major productions like A Star Is Born, which not only brought in additional income but also increased her global influence. This is important because influence directly impacts earning potential. The bigger the brand, the bigger the deals. But like every financial journey, her path wasn't without challenges. There were moments when projects didn't perform as expected, times when public interest shifted, and even periods where health issues forced her to cancel tours, leading to significant financial losses. For many, these situations can be devastating, especially when income depends heavily on performance. But Lady Gaga had already built a system. She wasn't dependent on one stream of income. She had diversified her earnings, which meant that even when one area slowed down, others continued to generate revenue. This is one of the most important financial lessons in her story. Never depend on one source of income. Over time, her consistency, strategic decisions, and ability to adapt allowed her to grow her wealth steadily. Today, her estimated net worth is over $300 million, a figure built not just on talent, but on understanding how money works. Her journey shows that success is not just about making money, it's about building systems that continue to generate income over time. From performing in small clubs with little to no pay, to headlining global tours, from writing songs for others to owning her own brand, from being dropped by a label to becoming one of the most influential figures in entertainment. Lady Gaga transformed her life through strategy, resilience, and smart financial decisions. Her story is not just about fame. It is about value. It is about understanding that money follows impact, and impact grows when you are willing to take risks, adapt to change, and think beyond short-term rewards. Because in the end, Lady Gaga didn't just build a career. She built an empire. And that empire continues to grow. But building an empire is one thing. Maintaining it, and growing it consistently, is something entirely different. Because once an artist reaches the level Lady Gaga reached, the financial game changes completely. It's no longer about survival. It's about strategy, protection, and expansion. At this stage in her career, every move she made carried weight. Every decision had financial consequences, and every opportunity had to be evaluated not just for fame, but for long-term value. And this is where Lady Gaga began to operate less like an entertainer, and more like a business executive. One of the most important shifts in her financial journey was her understanding of brand equity. Her name alone had become an asset. This meant that anything attached to her identity, music, fashion, beauty, film, automatically carried value. And instead of lending her name cheaply, she became more selective, focusing on deals that aligned with her image and offered strong financial returns. This is a key concept in wealth building. Not every opportunity is worth taking. Because sometimes, saying no protects your value more than saying yes. As her brand matured, she focused on building deeper control over her work. In the music industry, many artists lose money not because they don't earn, but because they don't own. Ownership determines who gets paid long-term, and Lady Gaga made sure she stayed involved in the creative and business sides of her projects, allowing her to benefit not just upfront, but over time. This includes royalties, licensing deals, and performance rights, all of which generate continuous income long after the initial work is done. This is what turns active income into passive income. And passive income is the foundation of real wealth. At the same time, her touring strategy became even more refined. Instead of just performing, her tours evolved into full-scale productions, experiences that fans were willing to pay premium prices